Good evening and welcome to Just the News. I'm Faye D'Souza. Let's get straight to the headlines. But before we get started, I must remind you, the reason why we call this bulletin Just the News is because that's what it is. There's no drama, there's no opinion, there is no manipulation of information or emotion. We're not going to tell you how to feel about any of this news. We're just going to tell you what happened in the most deadpan manner possible. Let's get straight to it. Our first headline: after a month of making no headway, the 13th round of Corps Commander level talks between India and China have finally reached an agreement on the need to find a resolution along the LAC in eastern Ladakh. An official statement by the Ministry of External Affairs after the 23rd meeting of the Working Mechanism Consultation and Coordination India-China Border Affairs said, and I quote, "The two sides have also agreed that both sides should, in interim, also continue to ensure a stable ground situation and avoid any untoward incident." It also said that there has been an agreement on both sides that they would hold the next 14th round of senior commanders meeting at an earlier date to achieve the objective of complete disengagement from all friction points along the LAC in the western sector, in accordance with the existing bilateral agreements and protocol. Meanwhile, according to the Hindustan Times, a statement by the Chinese Foreign Ministry has said that India and China have agreed to ease the ongoing military standoff along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh by shifting from emergency response to normalized control of disputed boundary. According to a report by NDTV, new satellite images accessed by NDTV shows that China has built a second enclave of about 60 buildings in Arunachal Pradesh. The report said that this enclave did not exist in 2019. According to this report, the second enclave lies approximately 6 kilometers within Indian territory between the line of actual control and the international boundary. The Indian Army, in response to NDTV, has said that the location corresponding to the coordinates mentioned in the query lies north of the LAC in Chinese territory. Remember, back in January, NDTV had reported as well of a big encroachment which was later confirmed by a report from the Pentagon from US. At that point, the government had said India neither accepted illegal occupation of territory nor has accepted the unjustified Chinese claims, end quote. This is the second report that has come out. The Supreme Court today has set aside the Bombay High Court order that basically required for skin-to-skin contact to be necessary in order for an offence of a sexual nature to be registered under POCSO, which is basically prevention of crime of a sexual nature against children. The Supreme Court has said that for the purpose of the law, it cannot allow defenders to escape the meshes of the law. The bench also went on to say that restricting touch or physical contact under Section 7 of POCSO to skin contact will lead to absurd interpretations and will destroy the intent of the act that was brought about to protect children. For instance, it pointed out that going by the High Court interpretation, a person who uses gloves when groping a child cannot be held liable under that act. The bench said, this is the Supreme Court bench that said, "We have held that when a legislature has expressed clear intention, the courts cannot create ambiguity in the provision. It is right that the courts cannot be overzealous in creating ambiguity." The Delhi government has prepared a 6-point action plan to clean the Yamuna river to bathing standards before February 2025. The Chief Minister has said that the new sewer treatment plants are being built and capacity of existing plants are being increased. Mr. Kejriwal said, and I quote, "This will increase our sewage treatment capacity from about 600 million gallons of water per day to 750 to 800 million gallons of water." He said the wastewater from the 4 drains falling in the Yamuna is being treated. In addition, sewer connections are being constructed in areas that did not have them already. The government will also, he said, shut down industries that are discharging waste into the river. This came up because the Yamuna was covered in toxic froth, especially during the Chhath Puja celebrations, and those visuals then went viral. The Punjab Chief Minister Charanjit Chani has announced that the government will cancel all FIRs that have been filed against farmers for stubble burning, also on farmers who have protested the 3 farm laws. This decision comes after the Chief Minister chaired a meeting with farmer unions. They've also asked for a list of people who died during the agitation to be given compensation and a job in their family. Farmers have been protesting at the borders of Delhi since November last year. But there's an update on the Veer Das story. The Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Narottam Mishra has said that he will not allow Veer Das to perform anywhere in Madhya Pradesh. This comes after, of course, Das recorded and uploaded a monologue called I Come From Two Indias, which he performed in the US. There have also been 2 FIRs launched against him, one in Delhi and one in Mumbai. Narottam Mishra said, and I quote, "We will not allow such jesters to perform. If he tenders an apology, we will think over it," end quote. Thus, in a statement 2 days ago said, and I quote, "The video is a satire about the duality of 2 separate Indias that do different things. Like any nation that is light and dark, good and evil within it, none of it is secret," end quote. The Supreme Court has refused interim protection from arrest to former Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh in the extortion case that has been registered against him. The top court has said it will hear his plea only after he reveals which part of the country or the world he happens to be in right now. Justice S.K. Kaul said, and I quote, "Which part of the world is the petitioner in? Are you in the country or outside? First, I want to know where you are." Justice Kaul also hit out at Singh's lawyer and argued that he can get out of the hole if he's allowed to breathe. This comes a day after Singh and 2 others were declared proclaimed offenders by a court in Mumbai. Matter will be heard on the 22nd of November. A look at our COVID numbers. It stayed steady. India has reported 11,919 new COVID cases and 470 deaths in the last 24 hours. Haryana's Education Minister has now announced that all schools will reopen completely from the 1st of December with 100% capacity. Further, he said midday meals will be served in school from the 1st of January. Haryana had started reopening schools for classes 6 to 12 in July this year. News now coming in from the world of business and economy. Massive IPO listing today of Paytm ended with a massive amount of pain. Shares of Paytm's parent, 197 Communications, got listed. The stock opened for trading at 1,950 on the NSE, then made a very sharp decline of about 9.3% or lost about 200 rupees from its issue price. Basically, the stock hit the bottom circuit today. Paytm stock fell as much as 28% from its issue price. I had an intraday low of 1,560. There were a lot of different points of view as to why this had happened. One of the points of view is that basically the market has been celebrating various unicorns listing, and those listings have done very well, that appetite might have run out. There was also an explanation possibly that because companies like Paytm or its parent company are still not making profits, and it's a business model that the stock market is not really used to. That could be another reason. In an interview with NDTV, Paytm's founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma said, and I quote, "No investor comes for one day. We should say investors lost wealth. We should not say investors lost wealth. One day's loss is not the whole picture." He went on to say, "We have to do a good job in explaining the model. It's just the first day. We are growing on revenue. We're growing on margin. We are expanding and we will continue to expand," end quote. News coming in from across the world right now. The Philippines has accused the Chinese Coast Guard vessels of blocking and firing water cannons at its boats that are supplying right now provisions to their marines in the disputed South China Sea. According to CNN, the Philippine Foreign Affairs Secretary has said no one was hurt during the November 16th incident, but the boats that were transporting food supply to military personnel based there had to abort their mission. In Canada, a state of emergency has been declared in the Canadian western province of British Columbia after a major storm cut road and rail links in the region. The Canadian Armed Forces are being deployed to help stranded residents who've been trapped since the storm hit on Sunday. At least one person has died in landslide and several people are reportedly missing. The flooding has also closed several highways in and around the greater Vancouver area, a major coastal city with about a population of 2.5 million people. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said the country is in the grip of a dramatic 4th wave of COVID. Germany reported 52,826 COVID cases on Wednesday alone. Germany's health minister had earlier described it as the pandemic of the unvaccinated. Over 67% of Germany's population are vaccinated. In the meantime, Belgium has also announced several measures to control the spread of infections and avoid a lockdown. Remember, France is also seeing a spike in infections. The Belgian Prime Minister said that alarm signals are red, Europe's map is quickly going red, and we are the same. End quote. Update from the world of sports. For cricket, at least, it's good news. The new team of Sharma and Rahul Dravid have opened their account with a win. India defeated New Zealand by 5 wickets in the first T20 of the 3-match series, chasing down a target of 165. With this victory, India has set the record for the most victories when chasing in T20 international cricket. India now has won 50 T20s while chasing. They're followed by Australia and Pakistan that have won 49 each. World number 1 Roger Federer will skip the Australian Open in January to focus on recovering from multiple knee surgeries. Roger Federer, in an interview that appeared in French in the Swiss newspaper, said that he would be extremely surprised if he was able to play at Wimbledon, and he's eyeing a return to the competition in mid-2022. He went on to say that I need to be very patient and give my knee time to heal. All right, a piece of positive news, like we always give you to cheer you up for the end of the day. This is good news for the LGBTQI community. The Switzerland government has announced that same-sex couples can get married in that country from the 1st of July onwards next year. This comes after the results of a referendum was issued in September. This makes Switzerland one of the last countries in Western Europe to legalize gay marriage. Previously, same-sex couples who were married in other countries were seen as a registered partnership in Switzerland. The new law also changes several provisions in the Swiss Civil Code to replace the words bride and groom with either two people or the engaged. It also allows same-sex couples to legally adopt children, permits lesbian couples to have children via sperm donation. That is, of course, a massive, massive step ahead as well. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin today. Remember, our attempt with this news bulletin is to simply tell you what happened and to bring you the news old school style. Give us 2 thumbs up if you find our news bulletin useful and if you watch it on a regular basis. Also, here is your quiz, because I'm not letting you off the hook today. Paytm listed today. What is the name of its parent company that actually did the listing? Leave the answer in the comment section so that I know you were paying attention to the news as well. Thank you so much for supporting us. Do inform your friends and family that we put out this bulletin every day. It's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on Instagram, so they can watch it on any of these platforms. Our aim is to be able to bring dignity and grace back to the news. Thank you for watching. Good night.